I think so, yeah. I'm getting something on that channel, so you can probably stop that. Now?
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we work together with vigor. May our study make us illumined. May there be no hatred amongst us. Peace, peace, peace. Friends, this is the annual function that we hold to respect, celebrate, welcome the diversity. The diversity is how the creation is. There is uniformity in the absolute. But when that absolute manifests, the very idea of manifestation means there has to be variety. There are two things only when one has something different from another. Otherwise, they would be just one. So, therefore, it is an important thing to see that while there is this tremendous diversity, we also should see that it doesn't create conflict. The diversity is an essential thing, but conflict and fights between two or many diverse groups or people is not only not necessary, it needs to be avoided if not eliminated. So this Universal Brotherhood Day that we observe every year on this second Sunday of September. And we have been observing it for how many? We started it in 2002, means 24 years. This is the 24th year that we are observing it. It was thought of immediately after that 9/11's, that disastrous terrorist attack, that we should not let this difference between the faiths destroy the very idea of religion itself. So, therefore, it was thought and decided that every year we should have this interfaith meeting, and the different interfaith leaders have participated in this. We had, for example, many Jewish religious leaders, various types of different Christian leaders, Muslim leaders, and of course the Hindu leaders. So, thus we always try to see where our understanding meets the core of religion. Last year, our Honorable Mayor, he is this year also, I tried to tell him that next year the subject will not be as difficult. Because last year when he came, he threatened, if the subject is so intricate and difficult, I am not going to come next year. So this year the subject is very simple. Very simple. Religion and spirituality. Religion and spirituality. Religion, we all know religion. Spirituality, the word, refers to something that is unchanging in us, something that does not undergo change in this changing world. Everything in the world is subject to change, but there is something that is unchanging, because of which we see who was there yesterday is same as here today. When a few months ago, mayor's office informed me that he has agreed to come. Now the same person has come, because there is, in spite of changes, there is something that remains the same. That is called spirit. One of our Swamis used to tell a joke that there was a minister, and then on his birthday, his friend gave him a very nice big bottle of whiskey. But he said, I will give you, provided you can acknowledge it from the pulpit. Oh, now that was a challenge, a pastor to acknowledge that I welcome this gift of whiskey from my friend on my birthday. So he was in two minds whether I should reject it or I should accept it, but he used to love it. So he found out a nice way to accept it. He said, I am so thankful. Now he is talking from the pulpit. I am very thankful for this and this friend who gave me a great present on my birthday, and I like the spirit of it. So, so it is. So one should not understand spiritual in that term, in that way. It is that something doesn't change in us. And that is why spirituality really forms the core of all religions. And why do we do it on this second Sunday of September? For three important reasons. It reminds us of the great speech by our leader, Swami Vivekananda, who was, in a way, founder of the Vedanta societies, Ramakrishna Mission, the parent organization of it, and he had come to United States to participate in the first this Parliament of Religion in Chicago, held in 1893, and on 11 September, he gave this great speech calling for the harmony of religions. And it was a very powerful speech. There are, books there titled Chicago Addresses, in which you can read that speech. A very powerful speech that calls for understanding the differences and accepting them, just as we accept our hand. But each finger of the hand is different. It is different in shape, different in functionality. You know that when you realize that when one of them is broken or is hurting, then you understand that you are missing it. So that was one reason for choosing this date. Second important reason was Vedanta Society of Providence also was established on the second Sunday of September in 1928. So we are about 3 years away from completing 100 years. So, so we think of it as a foundation day. And third thing, of course, is to see that 9/11, those horrible memories come up, and to make people, make ourselves, make everybody feel that all different religions really are necessary. They strengthen the fabric of human society. And therefore, we celebrate for these three reasons this interfaith movement, this particular Universal Brotherhood Day on second Sunday of every September. So we begin it with a song. That is, Swami Vivekananda's coming here is heralded in that song. So we will have the mission song. It is called mission song. So please come forward, the participating singers. And after that, as you can, see, oh, that is taken out. That that it is. Then there will be, we are marching in the light of God. It's a Christian origin song, but the performers are mostly Jewish. So there you can see the interfaith functioning there. And after that, Honorable Mayor will formally inaugurate with the all other speakers by lighting the lamp. So it will proceed in that order. Then I will tell the other things too. Please come forward. In all different traditions, light symbolizes the presence of God, light symbolizes knowledge, and therefore we are having the light lit by Honorable Mayor and other respected speakers. Gita Prana, you also. Our Mayor, Brett Smiley, has been working very hard to make the city very progressive, and you can see that he has put a lot of beautifying things in the city, working to make the city safer, and in various ways to increase the employment, to make the housing better, and so forth. And while we all wish him great success, because these are all very challenging things, not very easy solutions. But with the cooperation of all and his great intent and capability, he has been working at it. And thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So now we will have that song, and after that, Mayor will express his thoughts.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah, so we're going to be... John, you were here. John, you were in the Okay, that's great. All right. Hello, everyone. No. Yes? Yes? So, hello, everyone. Today, the Ruach singers are delighted to join together again with singers from and musicians from the greater community. We believe that our little ad hoc interfaith choir embodies the values and the ideals of Universal Brotherhood Day. We are Hindu, we are Sufi, we are Christian, and we are Jewish. We come together to celebrate music as a path to the divine. Our first song, We Are Marching in the Light of God, is based on a South African Christian hymn, which was widely sung during the anti-apartheid era. It is at once an expression of worship and an expression of resistance against injustice. We will sing verses in Zulu, in English, and in Hebrew.
Sia hamba kuka
Ooh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching. We are marching. Ooh, we are marching in the light of God. We are singing 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 in the light of God. We are singing. Ooh, we are singing in the light of God. We are singing. Ooh, we are singing in the light of God. We are praying 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 in the light of God. We are praying. Ooh, we are praying in the light of God. We are praying. We are praying. Ooh, we are praying in the light of God. Avanashira Ketoratelia. Avanashira Ketoratelia. Avanashira Ketoratelia. Avanashira Ketoratelia. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Ooh, Avanashira Ketoratelia. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Ooh, Avanashira Ketoratelia. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching. Ooh, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching. Ooh, we are marching in the light of God.
Well, that was beautiful. What Swami didn't mention was 2 years ago, the topic was death and dying, which was even more stressful, I can assure you. But it's a delight to be here, and I'm always humbled and a little insecure as a government leader at a spirituality topic, but to know that we all have our own role to play as we try to help our community thrive and succeed into the future. And I'm so grateful to the Vedanta Society for being such a terrific part of our community and for being great neighbors, for helping foster conversations like this, and really throughout the year participating in the fabric that is Providence. As I thought about this year's slightly less intimidating topic, I remembered a column that I had read in the New York Times a couple months ago that was reflecting on an annual survey that Gallup does around the world, around thriving communities and really thriving nations. And it was sort of a proxy for happiness in countries. And I'm sorry to say, America didn't rate so well. And the three factors that were determined to be the indicators of thriving societies were raising standards of living, dense networks of relationships, and a clear sense of purpose for the residents in those places. So really economic factors, social factors, and spiritual factors. And those three things together, all three of them are necessary for a community to thrive. And here we are in, truly, at least in this country, the birthplace of freedom of religion. But that didn't mean devoid of religion. It meant the ability to practice whatever religion called to you and spoke your name, and you found your place. And so as I think about our great capital city, and particularly in these trying and troubling times, as I mentioned at the outset, we all have our own role to play. And so in city government, at least, we are certainly trying to help our residents have a rising standard of living. The Swami mentioned housing and housing costs, which remain the greatest burden for our residents, in an area that we're trying to make great progress. I think the area in which we do well are dense social relationships here in our tight-knit community. I think all of us know we are 1 or 2 degrees of separation away from one another. That's usually a good thing. Occasionally it gets us in trouble. There are T-shirts sold at gift shops where it says Rhode Island, look where you look around the room before you talk about someone. And that's because of what a tight-knit community we are. But it is the sense of purpose and really the spiritual relationship that all of us, I think, must have in order to find fulfillment. That is really outside of city government's job directly, but clearly our job to make sure that this remain a pluralistic place where everyone feels like they can be welcomed. And so we work very hard at that. We work hard in our own way to foster interfaith dialogue and regularly convene faith leaders in city government from all religions and in all places. We give them voice and place to not pick a team or pick a side, but rather to know that their city hall is everyone's city hall. We work hard to make sure that all of our communities feel safe, particularly as they're practicing in their houses of worship, which has been more difficult in the last year or two for certain communities, particularly my Jewish community and our Muslim brothers and sisters. And we will continue to do so. At a time where there is so much divisiveness and so much hardship around this country, it's my goal, and I know our aspiration, that Providence itself be a sanctuary for all, a place where everyone feels welcomed, feels safe, and has a voice to disagree, but to do so in a way that fosters dialogue and discussion and debate, and one that tries to shun violence in all of its form. And so conversations like this, to continue to bring together faith leaders to share what their communities' thoughts are, to understand that there is so much in common in so many of our faiths, that will help bring us closer together. And as I said at the outset, the Vedanta Society, and Swami in particular, is one of those leaders and is one of those places where we're fostering that dialogue, where I'm confident will help Providence become that sanctuary as a community at large, where we can say with a clear heart and total honesty that this is a place that all are welcome, where no matter where you came from or who you pray to, that you have a home here now more than ever. And so it is a delight to be here and to welcome yet another Universal Brotherhood Day. My prayer for the evening is that next year's topic is as easy as this year's topic, Swami. Take that as a challenge. Thank you very much. Business of the city continues. Yes. What do you think is going on tonight?
Thank you very much for coming.
We'll see you in the neighborhood.
While we thank Honorable Mayor Brett Smiley for his presence, for inaugurating this Universal Brotherhood Day program and his beautiful speech, we now move forward. There is this song again, Draw Me, Lord. It's a meditative song, and again, the singers are same Ruach singers, guided and kind of captained by Diane.
The next song is called Draw Me, Lord. It's from the Christian gospel tradition.
Now we'll have the first speech in this symposium by Reverend Linda Forsberg. I had the privilege of knowing her for last many years, and just a few words by her introduction. She had been the pastor at Lutheran Evangelical Church in East Greenwich for 26 very fruitful years. Reverend Linda Forsberg is the missioner of Church Beyond Walls. That is a unique thing. I once went for that. It is, and felt that I should go very often there. It is only certain other commitments prevents me from doing that. But a church where, all different, say, homeless people, poor people, people without any means to survive, they all are welcome. Together with them, that service they perform on every Saturday. Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. And it is in the open. And still, no matter whether it is rain or sun or ice, snow, whatever, they assemble there. They give a sermon fitting for everyone present there and feed all of them in a wonderful way. It is something to see. So, she is also teaches world religions full-time now at Salve Regina University in Newport. She invites this fellow regularly, and also our Rabbi Jeff, the speaker of this evening, another speaker of this evening, very regularly to her world religions class. So it is, and she has spoken at this Universal Brotherhood Day more than once. First time she came to speak was when I made an SOS call. That, the designated other speaker cannot come due to some emergency, and will you be able to fill in that? And she accepted. That is the greatness of her heart, So, and then after that, she was invited a few times, not only at the Universal Brotherhood Day, but at other times also. I requested her to give a speech from here. So we are very grateful that she agreed to come and do the presentation on this beautiful theme, religion and spirituality. Linda, please.
I just want to begin by saying thank you so much to Swami and to all of the people here at the Vedanta Society. It's always a joy to be with you, and I learned so much from these Universal Brotherhood events, so thank you for the invitation. Before I speak, I always pray a prayer from the book of Psalms. And so now may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. And so I have been an ordained Lutheran pastor for this coming June. It will be 40 years. It's been a long time, and I've seen many changes in my Christian tradition over 4 decades. And I'd say in the last half of that, the second half of that, the past 20 years or so, I hear many young people say, I'm spiritual, but not religious. How many of you have heard that? That's kind of, and I was so taken by that for, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10 years, I wrote a blog specifically for that population to try to kind of reach out to people who consider themselves spiritual but not religious. I now teach at Salve Regina University and do campus ministry there, and in my world religions class, I have my students write these very short, like reflection papers about each of the world religions. And in all of these papers, I hear that over and over again. I'm spiritual, but not religious. And so for just a couple minutes, I'd like us to think about what that means. And in particular, in my role in campus ministry, thinking about the future and the younger generations and what they mean by that. And so when I begin my world religions class, I always write on the board the word religion, right? And religio. Houston Smith, in his book, Illustrated World Religions, he says, the meaning of that word, religio, all of the nursing majors know that ligio has to do like with the word for ligaments in our bodies, right? The word religio really means to reconnect. The kind of the purpose of religion is supposed to be to help us reconnect with God, with others, and with our true selves. But sadly, as the mayor said, and as we all know when we watch the news, often religion has done the opposite of that and has caused so many conflicts between people. And then when I got my doctorate, I got it in spirituality. And so I love the fact that it's religion and spirituality tonight. And how I think of spirituality is that, how did I put it here? That animating energy or life force within all living beings. So I think that more than just us humans have spirit nature. In the Judeo-Christian faith, the same word for spirit, ruach, as you well know, right, means breath or spirit. And in the Christian New Testament written in Greek, that same word, there's a different word, pneuma or pneuma, that also means breath or spirit. So I think of spirit really as that breath of life. And it was so evident in the beautiful music that we just heard. So of course, young people are saying, we want this breath of life. We want to live in that dimension, but we don't want all of the conflict and strife that we see when we hear religions fighting and battling and arguing with each other and condemning one another and all of that. And even though I myself have been part of organized religion for 40 years, a leader for 40 years, I have my own struggles with that. And I think what young people are getting at is it's not so much religion in that connecting definition, but what they really struggle with is organized religion or institutionalized religion. And yet that too is a challenge to those of us who are part of organized religion. I think we need to hear some of their critique. So maybe 10 years ago, I'm really bad with tracking time, but about 10 years ago, I heard a Lutheran professor from one of our big seminaries in Chicago speak about the younger generation and why they are saying no to institutionalized religion, but yes to spirituality. And so I want to share some of what she said. She said, one, all of the scandals we've heard about, right? Although many of them have come, the sexual abuse scandals have come through the Roman Catholic Church is where we hear most of it, but it's really affected every faith community and spiritual leaders, in communities. Younger people no longer trust religious leaders because they see all these scandals in the news, and I get that. Another critique they have is, and I see this in, I'd say 95% of my students' papers, they cannot understand the judgment and condemnation and exclusion of people in the LGBTQ community. Their constant refrain I read is, people should be able to love who they love. And, even those of us who've worked really hard, I was so happy to go to the national gathering of my Lutheran church and cast my vote, and we now have full inclusion of LGBTQ persons. But I think those voices that are much louder in our society, right, are the ones that are condemning, are the ones that are judgmental, and that turns young people right off, and older people too. A second critique is, this professor said, hypocrisy versus authenticity. When people of my own Christian faith, I'm going to speak of, when people don't practice what they preach, right? When they say one thing and are living a whole different way, that just screams out at young people, I don't want any part of that. I want something authentic. I don't want something hypocritical. Connected to that is, and I found this one fascinating as an older person, authority versus experience. So when I was growing up, we were taught to respect authorities, governmental leaders, police officers, people in uniforms, religious leaders, etc. And look at the news, look at all that's going on in our world. Young people are like, oh, no. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a uniform or have a bunch of letters after your name. That doesn't give you authority. What gives you authority is what you've experienced in your life. If you can speak from your own experience, that carries more authority with the younger generation. And then if I'm truthful, and I'm speaking of my own Christian tradition, this summer I helped out different churches who had no one to lead worship. And, I have to be honest, we have many outdated modes of communication in church. We just do. Some of the music doesn't speak to young people. Some of the just the practices don't ignite anything in young people. And as an older person, when I go to church, sometimes I'm bored. Truthfully, and I'm like, if I'm bored, younger people must be like really bored. So I think we really need to, in our Christian tradition, we need to look at that. And then the biggest thing I would say is that for many young people, they say, it just doesn't speak to my life. It's out of touch with real life. Now, I'm looking forward to hear what other faith traditions have to say, and if any of this, rings true for you. But this is definitely some of the reality within the Christian tradition. I'm Lutheran, and we have, like a diocese, it's sort of a geographical way of organizing. So in all of New England, Lutherans are kind of small. In all of New England, over the last 8 years, we had 180 churches, and our bishop said 40 are healthy, 40 are going to close any day, and they since have. And there's 100 that have to decide which way they want to go. But in the Christian tradition, churches are shrinking and dwindling and closing, and that's the challenging reality. Now, what does that mean for the future? A kind of famous theologian in Christian circles is a woman named Phyllis Tickle, and she wrote that not to worry about this because every 500 years or so, there's a paradigm shift. And she speaks of Christianity as being around, 2,000 years old, even though we trace our roots back much further than that. We come out of the Jewish tradition. But, and so every 500 years or so, there's like a big change that happens. Jesus was a big change. Not quite 500 years later, but when Emperor Constantine suddenly said, let's stop persecuting Christians, and he became Christian and made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire, that was a shift. Around the year 1052, the Great Schism, the 1500s, my guy, Martin Luther, and, the Great Reformation. And Phyllis Tickle says today we're in the midst of another big shift. I don't know about other faith traditions, but I look forward to hearing about that. I read a beautiful book by Harvard Divinity scholar Harvey Cox, who it's called The Future of Faith. And he was looking at it from a very Christian perspective, so I apologize to my rabbi friend, Jeff, but he said for the first 200 years, he meant 2,000 years prior to Christ, he said we had the age of the Father of the Trinity, or Yahweh, the God of our Jewish ancestors. For 2,000 years, we've had the age of the Son, or Jesus Christ. This is within Christianity. He said he predicts that the next 2,000 years will be the age of the Spirit. And I think that the Spirit is something that all faiths share. So I see it as full of possibility for coming together of many faiths. Now, there are areas of growth. Here in Rhode Island, one of the fastest growing within Christianity in general are the Hispanic Latino churches. Non-denominational churches are growing. And evangelical, but I would say the far right evangelical churches are growing, as we see. And so I have concerns. And what I really have concern about, I was talking with a student on the way here from Salve Regina who came with me, and we were talking about some of our concerns about non-denominational churches, which are growing. But what I've seen is that they're based a lot more on charisma of a leader because they don't have the structure of other Christian churches. So if that leader's involved in some scandal or something, or the leader leaves, the whole thing kind of falls apart. So it's a concern when something's so based on like one personality. Another critique, and the student completely agreed with me, is that many of these non-denominational churches are all about the worshiping in a way that almost is like entertainment. You know, they have a big, like a band young people will like, and lots of lights, and this student writing here with me said, but what are they doing to help the poor? What are they doing to help others? What is all their money going into their own upkeep and maintenance and not in service to others? Another concern I have, frankly, is leadership. And it might sound snooty, but here it is. I feel like in the traditional churches, you know, people had to be educated and get credentials in order to become leaders. And in many of these non-denominational churches, there isn't that, you know, and I worry about the kind of the depth of the leadership in all truthfulness. So I think that's something that we need to think about. And the changes that technology have brought. I remember one young man holding up his iPhone and saying, "This is my church." And I was like, wow, wow. How many of you remember Gloria Steinem? Okay, I went to a workshop with her, and she said a friend of hers, who was a neurologist, said that we humans are hardwired for empathy, but that empathy is that empathy gene, so to speak, is only ignited when all 5 senses are present. So in other words, if you're watching something on the internet, you're using 2 senses, right? Seeing and hearing. But if you're with a real person, face to face, and hear their story, and you're moved by it, and you're concerned for them, that is all 5 senses present. That actually is what, you know, ignites that empathy and brings people together. And so that's a struggle I have. Even though I love technology and I use it all the time, it shouldn't substitute for real community and relationships. I have many concerns about the far right and about the patriarchy, the misogyny, the anti-LGBTQ stance, the globbing together of patriotism and religion when our whole nation was founded on that idea of the separation of church and state for very good reasons. The fake news. The bishop of the Episcopal Church, I love, Bishop Knisley, and he was an astronomer before going into the clergy, a scientist, and he said, I used to think that you just had to explain things to people, and they'd say, oh, I get it, like climate change. As a scientist, if I explained it to people, they'd say, oh, I didn't know that, I get it. He said, now I'll explain it, and people will say, no, I don't believe in climate change. And you can't, it's like reasoning and critical thinking are huge challenges. And yet, I wanted to end my talk with a couple signs of hope, if you will, for the future. And my hope, I have to say, comes from working with young people. And so one sign of hope, I lead, say a prayer for me, because starting next weekend, I lead retreats for first-year students, and I have 100 students per retreat, and I have 6 of them. Whew, that's a lot. But one of the things we do is we ask them, what concerns you the most in today's world? Anyone want to guess what the number one concern is? Climate change, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's my number one concern too. And next semester I'm teaching a course, I'm creating a new course on eco-spirituality called Earth Cathedral. And I think people of all faiths are concerned about the earth, and young people coming together to work together for climate change. And seeing that as a spiritual concern is a beautiful thing and gives me hope. Young people, again, they've had it with our exclusion of LGBTQ folks, and they're like, any organized religion that does not have full acceptance for LGBT, I want no part of. And I agree with them. Racial demographics. We think of 2020 as the year of COVID. In the US, it was also the first year when white became a minority. I think that's hopeful for the future. You know, at my church in East Greenwich, my generation was mostly white, but my children's generation, beautiful, incredible, multi-ethnic, multi-racial, you know, people, just incredible. So that's a sign, I think, of that maybe we can hopefully get past all of the racism we've been struggling with. Younger generations, more equality for women and gender fluidity. I teach all of my courses with a kind of through the lens of how women, women's studies it's like a double dip. They can, you know, my courses can apply for women's studies. And I now have more men in my courses than women, and I think that's exciting and hopeful that young men are like, of course women should be equal. I love that. A desire for more understanding of other faiths and other spiritual traditions and working together like the beautiful Ruach singers and like what we're doing here tonight. And a commitment to service, to serving others. My street church attracts many young people who want to be a part of a church or a community of faith that sees beyond itself and helps others. And then finally, any community that goes back to the true meaning of that word, religion, religio, to reconnect us with God, with one another, and with our true eternal selves. Thank you.
Many thanks, dear Linda, for this very beautiful talk pointing out religia and then its connection with what is called spirituality. And now we will have, this spirituality and religion get connected through devotion. and we will have the song which is actually a translation from the great devotee of God, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his very famous song, Chant Unceasingly the Name of the Lord. So this song will be presented by the Vedanta group.
Unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glories. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glory, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross, and the mighty forest fire of desire may be quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glory. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O mind, bathe in His name, that bath for weary souls, drowning deep in the waves of His bliss, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross, and the mighty forest fire of desire may be quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glory. O Lord, various are thy names, in each and every name thy grace and power are present in full. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross, and the mighty forest fire of desire may be quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and His glory. No times are set, O Lord, for chanting of thy name. No rites are needful, so vast is thy mercy. How great then my poverty who finds in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy holy name, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross, and the mighty forest fire of desire may be quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and his glory. O mind, be thou more humble than a blade of grass. Be forbearing and patient like a tree. Give honor to all, take no honor, only to thyself. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord, that the mirror of the heart may be cleansed of its dross, and the mighty forest fire of desire may be quenched. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord and his glory. O Lord, mine is no prayer for pleasure, wealth, or fame. I want only steadfast devotion to thee. For thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. Do with me whatever thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord.
This lovingly chanting the name of God, there would be millions of names of the God, not that only one name. Whatever name you love, you can choose, and then with devotion, with love, keep on chanting. The name has a big power, very big power. It is many times when in my boring classes, when I see people dozing, I just call them by their name. Hey, Abhijit, what are you doing? Oh, okay, yeah. So that is the power of the name. So it is when you that call the name of God again and again, so that the God within you gets awakened. So friends, today we have the next speaker, our Rabbi Jeffrey Goldwasser from the Mount Sinai temple, the Jewish temple there, Temple Sinai. So in Cranston, not Mount Sinai, I'm sorry. There is no, in Rhode Island there are no mounts, So it is, so it is Temple Sinai. And I have known Rabbi Jeffrey for a long time, maybe more than a decade for sure. And a few times I had requested him to come for this gathering, but for some reasons he could not make it. This time, probably he did not find any reason to avoid. No, not that. Though he had said that I would like to come. So therefore we have him here. He is a very learned person. And a very forceful speaker with really a lot of loving compassion for the community, especially those who are deprived, are underprivileged, and thus, he fights for the justice for them. A few words from the Temple Sinai website that I'll be quoting here, that Rabbi Goldwasser has helped make Temple Sinai a leading center for Jewish culture, learning, spirituality, and activism in the state. Under his leadership, Temple Sinai became a venue for nationally renowned Jewish musicians to perform. He is known for his dynamic, engaging, and accessible teaching style, particularly his teachings on the weekly Torah portions every Shabbat morning that focus on personal meaning and spiritual growth, So that is why he is such a relevant person to speak on religion and spirituality. And he has such a forceful, and he speaks from the heart and not from the brain alone. I mean, not that he discards brain, but the more important part of it is his heart. And it is always, friends, an important thing. That heart makes us move forward. Heart is the engine, like your car has brakes and steering and all that. But that doesn't make the car move. That gives direction to the power that the engine gives, so it moves in the right direction. But what makes move is the heart, and guided by the intellect. So he is the right speaker for our today's gathering here. I humbly request him to present his ideas on this important topic of religion and spirituality.
So I'm very grateful to Swami for inviting me here today, and I have not been avoiding you, but you have placed this event in the second week in September. Anyone know anything about the Hebrew calendar? This is my busiest time of year. For some strange reason, the Hebrew Bible puts most of the major holidays of the year in 1 month, and this is it. But this year it worked out so that I could be here, and I've been looking forward to this very much. Thank you so much, Swami, my great friend, who has been such an important source of spirit and activism in Rhode Island around the issues of poverty. And I'm so grateful to have your partnership in working with the Interfaith Coalition to reduce poverty in Rhode Island. Thank you so much. And I'm also really pleased to be able to follow my friend Linda Forsberg, who spoke wonderfully and who I noticed in your talk, you posed some questions for me. The advantage of going second is I get to answer them or do my best to do so. So it's tempting, I think, to begin a conversation about religion and spirituality by defining what we mean by spirituality. What does that mean? It's such a broad term that can mean very many different things to different people. But I'm actually going to choose to go in the opposite direction. I'd like to talk instead about what do we mean by religion? What is a religion? And what is religion for? Now, it's not a trivial question. Not all societies even have a word for religion. And as Linda pointed out, religion actually, the word religion, its origin actually comes out of Christianity. That's why it's got that nice Latin roots to it. In my own religious tradition of Judaism, there is no native word that means religion. When the Hebrew language was revised and modernized in the 19th and 20th century, there was a need to create a word for religion in order to have a common vocabulary with followers of other faith traditions. So a word, dat, was lifted from the Hebrew Bible and rabbinic literature to fill the need. Now the word dat is actually a loan word from ancient Purim. So it's ancient Persian, so it's not even a native Hebrew word, and it means something like law or decree. So the word dati, which is used in modern Hebrew to mean religious, actually had an original meaning of lawful or law-abiding. That's not what most people mean when they talk about religion or being religious. Actually, in some situations, law-abiding can be the opposite of what most people mean when they talk about being religious in some contexts. So this idea that religions all have something in common, or that there is a category of ideas or a category of institutions that are called religion, isn't something that everyone agrees upon, or that feels like it's native to every religious tradition. So if the word that Judaism adopted for religion, dat and dati, is fundamentally about law, well, as a Jew, I can ask the question, apart from providing laws that require people to conform to standards of behavior that originate from their society or from a supernatural source, what is a religion and what purpose does it serve? Now, if I were a sociologist, I can be a sociologist for a few minutes, I might tell you that religions serve to give people in a society a common vocabulary for talking about life's meaning and purpose. Religions provide a common foundation for understanding the nature of the world in which we live and a framework of moral guidance. Religions draw people into community. They provide rituals that allow people to experience important moments in their lives and in the life of the community with shared symbols, shared beliefs, and shared practices. Religions also teach people pathways for living a good life, and religions usually will tell you which life should be regarded as being a good one. I think it's fair to say, though, that religion, as I've defined it, fills an important need for human beings. We are, in essence, these upright pack animals, and we need to feel ourselves bound to beliefs, practices, rules, and rituals that make us feel like we are part of the pack, we're part of the group. And religion plays a really important part in doing that for us. So if that's religion, what then is the relationship between religion and this thing that we're going to call spirituality? I believe that religions are human institutions that, at their best, help people to spiritual experiences and to be close to God, if we use that word to refer to our source of ultimate meaning, which, as Swami says, goes by many, many names. However, the relationship between religion and spirituality is, if you'll pardon the metaphor, like the relationship between a radio and music. Just because you don't have one doesn't mean you can't experience the other. This insight really hit me several years ago when I got a question from a reader of the blog I was writing at the time. We've all done our time doing blogs. And the reader wrote, "I would like to hear your thoughts on the growing number of atheists, of which I am one, and I would love to know how you remain true to your faith. Please know this is a sincere question, not one of contention." I thought it was a beautiful question. And I thought it was a question that had a contradiction, a beautiful contradiction buried within it. Perhaps you already see what I mean by a contradiction. You don't need to be a mind reader to realize that a true atheist would not be concerned with the struggle to maintain faith. Atheism is the conviction that, well, there is no God and there are no gods, no truths to be found in religions, and no ultimate source of meaning, truth, and morality in the universe. How could a true atheist be concerned with the struggle for religious faith when atheism denies the very basis of religious faith? I had to assume that the message I got was from a person who wanted to experience spiritual connection, but like the people that Linda described, a person who was frustrated by an inability to find a meaningful experience of spirituality in any religion, or who was so put off by the religious institutions that he saw around him in the world that none of them would work for him. So here is part of what I wrote back. It's my belief that many people who call themselves atheists are really just anti-religion. And maybe that's true for you too. I think there's a difference between faith and religion. A true atheist would be someone who believes that our existence is a complete accident of chance, that our lives serve no purpose and have no meaning apart from what human beings ascribe to their own existence. A true atheist would believe that there is nothing intrinsically good or bad about any human action. From the perspective of an indifferent universe, a murderer and a humanitarian are essentially equals. I don't believe that, and I don't believe that there are many people who do believe that, if you really push them on it. To me, faith is just the gut feeling that our lives continue to matter even after we have died, and that the way we choose to live matters too, not just because of our biologically programmed preferences, but because there really is such a thing as right and wrong. Religion is another matter. Religions are systems of beliefs and practices that are designed to enhance the experience of faith. Sometimes they help people uncover deeper levels of meaning in their lives. Sometimes they're just a tool people use to justify the beliefs and behaviors that they've already chosen anyway. Religion can give people insight and provide a framework for making good choices in a difficult world. Religion can give people an excuse to hate and to be greedy. For the most part, religions, like people, do a little bit of both. I got back a grateful response from the reader and an acknowledgement of a desire for spirituality to fill the emptiness of his life. I think there are a lot of people like this in our society. People who yearn for spirituality and connection to something beyond themselves, but who have not found what they are looking for within the boundaries of religion. There are also a lot of people, I think, who do strongly identify with a particular religion, and yet also feel this yearning for spiritual connection that their religion does not satisfy. And I think, to be honest, this is particularly true in Judaism. In my work as a congregational rabbi, I encounter a lot of these Jews, people who say, I'm Jewish, but I don't believe in God. That statement would be close to nonsensical in other religious traditions. For example, most Christians would say that you cannot be a Christian if you don't believe in Christ. And most Muslims would say that you cannot be a Muslim if you don't believe in Allah as God. But in Judaism, it kind of makes sense. The synagogue is a place where people connect with Jewish community and ethnic identity, not just God and spirituality. But I cannot help but think that many of those Jewish atheists are people who are frustrated or confused by the way that our society defines religion and belief in God. And frankly, that puts me in their camp too. If being religious means believing that your religion embodies the perfect truth, then I will choose not to be religious either. If believing in God means holding that there is a mighty being at the top of a religious hierarchy, then I will be an atheist too. That kind of God to me is like a childish caricature of God, something like the cartoon God that appears in the sky in a Monty Python sketch. But that is not how I define religion, and it's not how I experience God and spirituality in my own life. For me, spirituality is the experience of accepting that my life matters beyond the satisfaction of my desires and beyond the frailty of my impermanent body. To me, spirituality is manifest in the realization that I am here, and so are you, to fulfill a purpose and truth that is greater than any one of us individually. Spirituality is the experience that despite our smallness in this vast universe, our actions matter. What we do, how we treat each other, and the values we live by have tremendous significance and importance, even a significance that goes beyond our own preferences and our own social mores. we realize that we are not the center of the universe. Yet the choices we make and the way that we find meaning in life matter very much. God, for me, is in the struggle to answer questions like, why do we care so much if our lives are so insignificant? Why shouldn't we just do whatever pleases us and satisfies our desires, since all the consequences will be wiped away in 1,000 years or so? Why are we so convinced that our lives matter? For me, the encounter with God is not in any set of correct answers to these questions. It is in the struggle to understand what the questions even mean. No religion and no human institution of any kind can pretend to know it all. Rather, religion is a system of concepts and practices that help us discover ourselves as spiritual beings and to discover our own answers. And here's another important point. Religions that work don't work for everyone. Religions are not necessarily the best way for everyone to experience spirituality. But we can't let that be an excuse to forego religion as a pathway to spirituality. I notice that most people who say that religion does not work for them have never really tried one. Religions require discipline and practice as an adult for them to work. You would not claim that exercise has no effect on your strength and endurance after only doing a few push-ups. You would not or should not decide that yoga and meditation don't work for you after only a few sessions. A friend of mine who is a revered teacher of Jewish meditation described a conversation she had with a well-known Hindu guru who was talking about his experience working with Westerners who come to him seeking enlightenment. He said, "They want to be who I am, but they don't want to do what I do." Likewise, do not claim that religion does not work for you after only enduring religious school as a child and attending a few services. If you do not make a commitment, you are unlikely to experience any benefit. While there are people for whom spirituality comes more naturally, exploring our inner world and connecting with our deeper self to find meaning and connection is an intentional act that requires discipline, effort, perseverance, and most importantly, time. I believe that religion can help most people, but like most things in life, you have to make a commitment. Many religions like to claim that they give people certainty and a pathway to absolute truth. But among the lessons of spirituality I have experienced in life is that we can never be absolutely certain about anything, much less certain about how God will touch us or will be revealed to us. We all walk down paths whose destinations are unknown to us, but which we can experience as a blessing and gift of love, compassion, courage, and peace. That experience, that process, is the way I understand what true spirituality is. It is a journey that we can travel, and religion can be a map to help guide us on our way. Now, I wanted to say a few things that occurred to me as I was listening to you, Linda, especially in talking about the idea that we are on the brink of a new age of religion, or that religion is somehow in the process of changing right now. It reminded me of some writings from the Israeli historian and philosopher Noah Yuval Harari. Some of you may be familiar with him. Pretty brilliant guy. I don't always agree with him, but he's smarter than I am. Harari says that we are not in an age of religion. And to make this point, he makes a pretty convincing argument, convincing to me. He just simply says, well, what we are really in is an age of science. If you ask people what have been the great scientific innovations of the last 500 years that have changed people's lives, people will have no problem at all coming up with lots and lots of innovations that have had huge tangible impacts improving people's lives. But if you ask the same question, what great innovations have there been in religion in the last 500 years? It's going to draw a lot of blanks. We are not in an age where religion is the great force that is changing the way people live their lives. And Harari's argument goes on to say that if we are living in an age of science, the great question that science asks is the question of what is the use of this thing? What is the rational explanation why this thing should matter? If religion cannot answer that question, it's not going to thrive. I think we all need to find people who care about religion, people who care about an institution that is designed to arouse and develop and grow a person's spiritual life. If that matters to us, then we need to be able to truthfully, honestly, and rationally be able to ask the question, why should it matter? What is it doing for us? How is it making our lives better? I think there is an answer, but it's not always going to be the answer that many religious people like to hear. It's going to be an answer about deepening our sense of fulfillment in life, improving the way that we connect to other people, and feeling that our lives are useful and are of service to others. Those are the kinds of answers that I think religion needs to develop in order for there to be a transformation of religion if we are on the brink of something like that. It's not, I don't think, and certainly not in Harari's terms, that we are on the age where religion will once again be ascendant as the great institution of our society. I think we're not in that age. But we can think about religion in a way that makes it more meaningful in the way that we live our lives and the sense of fulfillment and meaning that we get in life. Again, I want to thank you so much, Swami, for inviting me here today, and thank you for allowing me to participate in this conversation. Thank you all so much.
What a wonderful, thought-provoking lecture. Thank you, Rabbi Jeffrey. He has brought out a few very important points that I would like to briefly speak about, and that is religions as pathways for becoming spiritual. It is, the religions should be used like that. Because spirituality, or that is our goal in life, that is to be achieved, and then there are means for achieving it. So the goal that everybody has, and while there is of course lot of progress of science, you will see that it has not changed anything so as to what we are really seeking in life. For example, we all seek happiness in life. Has religion or has science, in spite of all this development, has made our lives happier than what they used to be 500 years ago? The answer is no. Has science brought more peace in our life than what we used to have 500 years ago? Certainly not. And therefore, science has brought many advancements in the manner in which we are living, but that has not propped us or moved us towards the goal of life. Goal of life is something that one must think about, and therefore religion, when properly practiced, again, that is a point that he stressed wonderfully, that we are not patient to practice it. In my childhood, I used to, I was told that to build the muscles, you should do exercise. And then I was about 5, 6 years old, maybe, or 10 years old. I don't exactly remember. Then after doing push-ups and all that, I would stand in front of the mirror and see how my muscles have grown. So that is what we do, a little something, and think that we should thus become spiritual. Have we? No. Just listening to some music, does it make it musicians? No. It all requires practice. There is a very nice, somewhat humorous story that religions are the pathways. The story goes like this. Think of the olden days, means not too old, just about 30, 40 years ago, even 25 years ago, when there was no GPS. So people would be traveling here, there, and then when they are confused which way to go by, many of us have done that. Go to a gas station on the road and ask, how should I be going there? And so one such person went to the gas station and asked, does this road lead to New York? Does this road go to New York? And the man in the gas station, in a humorous vein, said that I had been working at this gas station for 25 years, and my father had founded it. He was here for another 25 years before me. And none of us have seen this road going anywhere. The road just remains here. But if you go on this road in this direction, then you will reach New York. So that is how it is. If we follow the religion properly, then we will reach this spiritual unity. And as he was talking about atheist, there is a very nice book by David Bentley Hart, a philosopher and theologian. He therefore used the terms of Hinduism or Vedanta to bring home this something that can address or reply the atheist objections. And that book he has titled as Sat Chid Ananda, Existence, Consciousness, Bliss, as the definition of God. God is the existence. You cannot deny existence. So see the absolute existence. Think of it. That is God. Absolute knowledge. God. Absolute bliss, that is God. One assertion that Vedanta makes, that God, being all-pervading, being everywhere, that very God is your reality also. So, therefore they call it Atman. It is Atman. So, the reality within. So that is how one must understand. Otherwise, it is just talking, discussing, without moving anywhere. That is why people get disgusted about religion. One of our great teachers, Swami Ranganathananda, used to tell a story that a preacher had a friend who was a philosophy professor. So one day he invited him to speak at his congregation, and then the preacher introduced him. You know, my philosopher friend, what is philosophy? It is trying to find a black cat in a dark room, and that didn't exist also. Then that philosophy professor didn't take it lightly. When he rose to speak, he said, "My friend told me about my profession. He didn't tell about his profession. So now let me tell what his profession is. His profession is also somewhat similar to find the black cat in a dark room that does not exist, but he claims that he has found it." So that is the difference. If we do not use religion as the pathways to reach the ultimate reality, that is what happens. We keep on circling. Anyway, sorry, I was not meant to be giving a lecture, but certain questions he raised made me say a few things. Thank you very much, Rabbi. It was wonderful. Now we will have a song about it is a Sufi song. All, mystic disciplines of every religion, they point out to the spiritual oneness of the entire creation. And like I had some discussion with Rabbi Jeffrey about Kabbalah, a deeply spiritual discipline. And when I was reading Kabbalah, I could not distinguish, whether I am reading Upanishads or I am reading a Jewish text. So Sufis are also like that they also speak of this oneness of God, and that could be achieved through love. Love actually originates from oneness. Why do we love? Because there is something common, something one in us. So that is the song that will be played now, sung now. Please, Diane.
So the Swami has introduced this song beautifully as a Sufi song and a mystical song. It came to Ruach through Diane and Tamar from their time in Bosnia. So it's a Bosnian Muslim song. The words are, as we first learned them or tried to learn them, in the Bosnian language and also Arabic. We've reinterpreted or interpretively translated the Bosnian language into English, and some of the mystical images, in addition to love, talk about a messenger bringing light and truth and justice and the desire for us to draw that into our lives. So enjoy Huhu Allah. light so we may see. Take away these chains from us, banish Adam, make us free.
Prisoner of the dark, please hear our cry. Banish hate and fear forevermore. Souls are longing for your light, your path you walk so brings us towards the wide.
Dear friends, now we'll sing another song. Ruach will present another song which is written by Rabindranath Tagore. It's a very common song, and all of you, you are welcome to join us. Anandaloke Mongolaloke. Anyone can join us.
Can the Vedanta singers, would you like to join us?
Well, the meaning is out here. You are the honorably present with the halo at the blissful world. Your majestic appearance gorgeously fills the sky. The mortal world coiled around your adorned feet. The sun, moon, the planets, stars anxiously drink and bathe in your everlasting beam with incredible speed. Springs dance down the earth. What a beauty! Flowers, leaves, melodious sounds add to the colors. Ananda loke, Mangala loke, birajo, shotta sundaro.
Our next and final speaker of this symposium will be Gita Prana, Pravrajika Gita Prana, who had spent many years at the convent in Hollywood, and for last 21 plus years she is in Ridgely Manor, Vivekananda Retreat, Ridgely Manor, a place very holy for the followers of Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda tradition. So, and very hard worker. It's difficult to describe her, She has tremendous knowledge. But more important, she is a presence. She is a spiritual presence. And that exerts lot of influence. Means calming spiritual influence on people. We have to realize, that the presence, not just the words, but the presence is something that makes the spirit just get scattered around. Words are very weak, like the lamps, they scatter the light without talking anything. It is so. There are personalities who scatter spirituality without talking much. Of course, she talks also. So it is. So I request her to please come and speak on this occasion. She has spoken before also in this gathering on Universal Brotherhood Day. In fact, last year she was one of the speakers.
Thank you, friends. Swami Yogatmanandaji has made my talk a lot easier by stealing some of my thunder, and I'm happy about that. When it comes to the topic that we think, religion and spirituality, easy, as the mayor and everyone else has said, compared to some of the topics that we have been given in the past. But I've been thinking about this now for a long time in terms of the tradition known as Hinduism. So I want to ask the audience here, okay? Of those of you, how many of you here are non-Hindu? Raise your hand. How many of you here are Hindu? How many of you here don't really like the idea of being called Hindu, but you will raise your hand if I say Vedanta? There's a few. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure where I belong in this. I have never figured it out. So I want to talk about, when I was in Los Angeles, I was often part of various interfaith kind of dialogues and projects. And then I moved to Ridgely, which is a retreat center That's its point. And so even now, after being at Ridgely for 21 years, there's a little bit in my own mind of a tussle between, well, here I am at this retreat center doing nothing, but it serves a function in society. First of all, it's not for anybody from any particular religion. And second of all, in today's world, there is a huge need for people to put aside everything and contemplate what's really important. Because we can't just act as kind of reactors. There needs to be acting from a space within. And so it is almost an activist activity to actually, paradoxically, go on retreat. But I want to talk about this obviously from the standpoint of this tradition known as what? What is it? Oh, Hinduism. Okay, so let's talk about this word. Sometimes these concepts, and I'm going to include Hinduism, religion, and spirituality all in this same kind of category to be examined. First, Hinduism. Is it a religion? You could say yes by some standards, but on another way, you could say no. And first of all, we have to understand that the way we talk about things and the way we even think about what we experience is strongly culturally determined. Would you agree? And as well, culturally determined and a little bit determined by the history of the particular culture in which this language arose. And that culture's value of language and that culture's value of story and what role it plays. So first of all, I would like to say that Hinduism isn't an ism. And I'll go on to that whole notion ism kind of arises from maybe it was an Enlightenment, maybe it was later on sort of age in the West, that things will be examined and we're going to call this religion. And then we have Judaism and we have Hinduism. And it kind of gives in the mind an idea that there's a structured body of beliefs here that might have some variations, but is essentially monolithic. Then there's this word Hindu. Where did that come from? It was imposed on the tradition from outside. In actuality, for the most part, in India, the tradition, the religion is known as Sanatana Dharma, the eternal way. And everybody fits into it. So, for instance, in South India, there was a community, and there still is a community of very early Christians that they trace their tradition to St. Thomas, who they say traveled to India. And these early Christians, in the larger context of where they live, were not considered not Sanatana Dharma. They were just another way of looking at life and practicing. And they worshiped Sri Isha, which Isha, of course, kind of fits Yeshua or Jesus, but it means God in Sanskrit. So no problemo.
with that, but then the Portuguese came and saw that these Christians living in India actually, I think, belonged to one of the communities that had been declared as heretics. And they were slaughtered not by Hindus, so-called, but by the Portuguese. So another thing is spirituality. In actuality, in the Indian tradition, you cannot take apart the words religion, philosophy, spirituality, and a way of life. They are just always intertwined and together. And then when we come to religion, what is this Hindu religion? First of all, it's vastly ancient. We don't know how ancient, it's that ancient. And this tradition, which is not organized in the same way as some of the other religious traditions are, there's no one body that adjudicates what goes into the tradition and what doesn't. There's no notion of a congregation, really. There's no dogma. There's no doctrine. You will not find a Hindu having to repeat something they learned in some kind of religious school about the. In fact, here's a good example of this. There was, for a long time, in Los Angeles, a Hindu-Catholic dialogue. And they were having, the Hindu-Catholic dialogue was having a symposium like this. And one of the speakers was a friend of mine who was Roman Catholic. And one of the Hindu speakers was a Swami that I knew really well. So I was sitting there just as a spectator, and my friend, who was a Roman Catholic speaker, looked around the room and said, "Oh no, oh my gosh, now I'm really nervous. The Monsignor is here." And which is, if you don't know, a cleric very high in the Roman Catholic hierarchy. And I said, "Well, why are you nervous?" And he said, "Because I'm so afraid that I might accidentally say something that's contrary to the doctrine, and that the Monsignor will hear it, and there will be repercussions." Meanwhile, the Swami, who was the speaker for the Vedantins, had another set of concerns. He was afraid that he would get up and speak, and then 6 random Hindus would get up and argue with him and each other. And that would be perfectly okay in that tradition. So there's no one body that actually hands down the tradition where it is learned in India and also from Indian-derived religions like Buddhism and Jainism, and it comes through the family and it comes through individual teachers. Their individual lineages. There's not a monolithic religion. But Hinduism is also maybe the most misunderstood religion in the West. And where I live, in the Hudson Valley in New York, is a rural community made up of rather conservative people who are mostly Christians, who have families that have lived there for generations, and escapees from New York City, who are much more liberal and tend to be any kind of, you can find any kind of religion there, or there's a disdain for religion altogether. And in my town, they know us as the Swami people. And if the word Hindu comes in there, then the next thing that arises in their mind is cult. That as soon as the idea of Hinduism comes in, the Swami people, cult. All right? Think of the judgment that's already there. And then maybe the next thing is cow. Why do Hindus worship cows? Don't they know? And not to mention all these weird gods with elephant heads, and then the very same people who are very suspicious then go off to their yoga class where they are probably meditating and chanting Om, and with no understanding that the very tradition that they have been suspicious of is the one that they are practicing. Because yoga, even in its classic form as it's understood in the United States, which means body posture kind of yoga, is the spiritual practice of India. It's not the only yoga, that's the thing. So there's a danger here. And the obvious danger is this, that Hinduism is exotic, it's other. Have you ever seen India get good press in the United States? Tell me, have you ever seen it? No, it's a stampede, it's a this, it's a that, it's something really strange and foreign, but it's never good journalism. Only rarely, let's just put it that way. So that we can understand. All religious traditions are facing this right now, a little bit. But I'm still picking my jaw up from the ground of something that my Providence friends told me this morning that they saw in the news. And this is a danger. This is a huge danger for a tradition like Hinduism that's fighting for even recognition, or any of the others. So they were telling me that, by the way, I grew up in Berkeley during the 60s. So I think I know exactly what's going on in the minds of what's happened here. Some Hindus, students, I guess, applied to be allowed to have a Hindu-based organization at UC Berkeley. And they were rejected. And the reason why they were rejected is because the history of violence in the Hindu tradition, hello? Excuse me? The history, well, what history are we looking at? Please tell me, is there a history? Yes, there's violence in every tradition, but is this not the country that was dominated by a foreign power to the point of slavery for 700 years? And that somehow managed almost non-violently to gain independence and pull itself in a short amount of time, less than 100 years, to being a world power almost. Just about equal. In less than 100 years. So how do we make, if people are going to just invent histories for traditions that they don't know anything about, how are the different religious traditions even going to keep themselves relevant when people are getting their information from the phone and that information may be totally bogus? And especially about for a religion like Hinduism. Okay, so I might be going over my time. Listen here, if you don't have an organized body of belief, then all beliefs are there. And even atheists in the Sanatana Dharma are considered a kind of spiritual, I guess you would say. And then, of course, a tradition like Buddhism, which is atheistic, is a whole different meaning of that word. And even though it's a different religion now, actually is part of the Sanatana Dharma. Likewise, Jainism, likewise, Sikhism. And if Hindus have a prejudice, it's this, that because they're ancient religion from which nothing has ever been excluded, that only moves forward and gains new understandings as it changes, but never leaves anything behind, can then claim that it understands every single tradition because they're all Hindus is a little over the line the other way. So what can you say about Hindus? There's nothing. You will not get Hindus to agree on just about anything. And that's why it's legitimate for us to worry about people getting up and randomly arguing with us, although most people are too polite to do that. But there is one thing that I think, and it's very important, that most Sanatana Dharma people who live and breathe in that worldview will agree to, and in Sanskrit is ekam sat vipra bahudha vadanti. So ekam, one, sat, usually translated into English, but that has become a suspect word now as truth. So I prefer sat, one existence. The ultimate existence is one. But vipra, the sages, those who have seen for themselves, directly experienced that ultimate reality, not just believed in it, but had experienced that for themselves and saw, as Swami was saying, was actually at their own very true nature. Bahuda, in many ways, varanti, they describe it. So there's one ultimate existence, but it is described in so many different ways by so many religious traditions and so many cultures. Hinduism, because it's Vedanta even, you can't throw it all in one category, can you? There are many kinds of Vedanta. Do Hindus have a scripture? Well, most of them will say, yes, the Vedas, the books of knowledge, the ancient Vedas. But there is groups of Hindus who will say, we're not using that as our main scripture. But I think you could come close to saying that, yes, the Vedas are both the inspiration for the religion and the social tradition. So the role that sometimes churches and synagogues and others play, say, for instance, organizing, what would you say, service projects, often has become, in the Hindu tradition, fulfillment on an individual level. And so you find individuals, say, who have come here from India, supporting whole villages with the money that they make here, with paying the debts to their society, that everything in the world is interwoven, and you cannot move one piece without moving the whole fabric. We are not, we feel like we're individuals. We are part of a whole, and everything we think and do matters, no matter who we are. The other thing is that a culture that is based on the understanding that time and space infinitely recycles. What will be the idea of the societies in such a culture? They will rise, they will prosper, they will fall. And they will be reborn again, they will recycle, they will rise, they will prosper, they fall. There will never be God's paradise on earth. It's a paradox. There will never be the kingdom of God. There is something close, but never. The lion in the Indian tradition will never lie down with a lamb. It will just move over, endlessly growing, being, dying, and becoming in infinite ways and infinite kinds of unbelievable expression of life. So we need to understand that individuals who grew up with that structure of mind are going to think about the traditions and the religions and the roles of society in a little bit differently. Right? And yet, look at the Ramakrishna Mission and other Hindu organizations. They're doing the same kind of work as all the other religious traditions. The children, as you say, are not wanting to be, what do you say? Spiritual but not religious. Would you say that? Young people here? Did you ever, would you say that? Are you spiritual but not religious? No, because you belong to the Vedanta Society, so you can't. But my friends, when I joined the convent, said to me, well, we understand spirituality, we get it, but why did you sell out to the institution? And to this day, I've been, since 1984, they still don't understand. So I think I used up my time. If I have made any kind of impression on you, it's that when we think about this word religion, we have to always understand that it has many, many meanings. And that it isn't in some cultures, say for instance in India, separate from, there's no difference between the sacred and the secular. And that language matters, but the ultimate reality is that which transcends all language and all understandings. And then we can meet there. And then have respect for the way that that tradition understands itself, not how we understand that tradition. And meet in the commonality, which I haven't talked about, but we know there's commonality between all the traditions. And understand that it's critical right now. It's really critical that religious, spiritual, philosophical, ethical, as our speakers are all saying, we embody that. It's not just about looking at your phone. So we all have that responsibility. We can't just look to the clerics and everybody else. We all have that responsibility. It's really, really important right now. Or people are going to make up something and put it in the place of Christianity or Judaism or Hinduism. And because they saw it on the internet and everybody knows fake news and I don't have to believe it. So traditions should come together and can come together, but don't expect just the rabbis and the ministers and the swamis to do it. We all have this responsibility. So thank you. I hope.
Many thanks, dear Gita Prana. We are almost coming to the close of this wonderful evening. That spirit, the God, is in everyone. And one of the customs in Hindus is therefore to say namaste instead of saying hey, hello, and all that. Namaste, which that song we sing at the end of every Universal Brotherhood Day to highlight that we are saluting actually the presence of the divine in every single individual. So let us have that song presented by the Vedanta and Ruach group together.
Swami said that we've been doing this event for 24 years, and I think we've been singing this song, which we love, for 24 years. So please sing along with us. It's wonderful to see all the singers up at the same time. Absolutely.
Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India, they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. You may be from Africa, you may be from Asia, you may be from Australia, but there's something the same in all of us. Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. You may be from America, you may be from Europe, you may be from the islands, but there's something the same in all of us. Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. You may be a Christian, you may be Islamic, you may be Hebraic, but there's something the same in all of us. Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. If you're Native American, Buddhist or Taoist, or you're a Hindu, there's something the same in all of us. Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. Namaste, namaste, I salute the divine in you. In India they say what's so true, I salute the divine in you. I salute the divine in you. I salute the divine in you. Thank you. Good job.
This day also marks the end of our summer vacation or summer break. It was not a vacation, summer break. And then all our regular programs like the Sunday services, Tuesday and Friday classes, Saturday guided meditation sessions, they all begin from, say, practically tomorrow. Early morning and evening meditations. You are all invited to join them, and thus we are now starting till next summer. We will not be closing, So now I will request our secretary and secretary to give the vote of thanks, Chester Bonsek. So Chester, please.
Thank you, Swami. Namaste, friends. This will be a few minutes of giving thanks to the divine for the many manifestations we saw today in word and song and in celebration as a team. So on behalf of the Vedanta Society of Providence, I offer our heartfelt thanks to each of you for joining us in this annual celebration of the Universal Brotherhood Day. We began with Mayor Brett Smiley. We thank him not only for his leadership and his talk, but in serving the city of Providence, but more importantly, for standing with us today in the spirit of harmony and hope, a hope made possible only through open and honest dialogue and sincere sharing of ideas. His participation in presidents, especially as a representative of government, helps us to remove the artificial division between the secular and the sacred, moving all towards a more life-affirming union of work, worship, and service. We are deeply grateful to each of our distinguished speakers, Rabbi Jeffrey Goldswasser, Reverend Lyndon Forsberg, Pravrajika Gita Prana, whose reflections on religion and spirituality have illumined their teachings, the teachings of their traditions, which are some of the many paths that, when followed sincerely to their end, culminate in the experience of the One. Their participation, your participation, is a testament and a model of a shared commitment to finding oneness through dialogue, spiritual inquiry, and mutual respect. To Luruak Ensemble, I hope I got it right. Your offering of music with its rhythm, its harmonies, and rich call, response, maybe echo back sometimes in broad dynamics was a wonderful offering, filled my heart as a fellow musician. And to the Vedanta Ensemble and all the singers for providing traditional music as well as new offerings to us. And all of the artists, musicians and artists, thank you for offering beauty and inspiration in sound, in lyric, and gesture, reminding us all that music itself is a vehicle for sharing ideas, spiritual ideas, and feeling. We thank the people of the Kebab and Curry restaurant for preparing a meal which we will soon be sharing. We give thanks to all who helped plan, organize, carry out this evening, from the lighting of the candles to the serving of the food and the cleanup which will occur afterwards. Their quiet dedication, your quiet dedication, has created an event where hearts could meet in reverence, hope, and harmony. To our audience, in person and online, thank you for your presence, your participation, and your spirit. Participation is essential. It is the very reason groups gather, and such programs as this are offered. As we carry the inspiration of this evening forward, may we walk with open hearts, clear minds, and the courage to try to see the divinity in all. And yes, it takes courage. It takes patience and a willingness to introspect with honesty and depth. Vedanta teaches that no one person, no one thing, no one act has a specific cause, only a universal cause. The world is the way the world is because the cosmos is the way the cosmos is. And we ourselves create the world we live in. Only when we can truly see beyond self-made divisions, when we know not through emotion or intellect, but through actual experience, that there is no division, that all carry within a spark of the divine, that even this seeming separation between this body giving the thanks and the seemingly individual bodies that are listening resides the very same consciousness in each. Then and only then, when we truly understand this from experience, have we understood the teachings of the seers, the sages, the prophets, and the saints who have visited humanity through the ages. As summed up in the Upanishads, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. I am Atman Brahma. This self is the universal awareness. Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 29, true yogis, uniting their consciousness with God, see with equal eye all living beings in God and God in all living beings. This verse is the essence of a spiritual vision that underlies a universal brotherhood, a universal sisterhood, a universal beinghood, or most generally, perhaps, a universal hood. Thank you, friends. Namaskar, namaste.
We'll conclude with the prayers to the Divine Mother, and afterwards we shall say grace before proceeding to take our supper. Thank you.
Graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all-seeing Gauri, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence, O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish, be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai, Jai Shri Swami Vivekananda Ki Jai, Jai Shri Buddhadev Ki Jai, Jai Shri Jesus Christ ki jai.
ॐ ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महविर् ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्मसमाधिना हरि ओं तत्सत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. O Lord, please accept our offering, bless us, make us pure and all-loving. May we not accuse, demand or complain, but love, respect and cooperate with all. May we not find faults with others, but try to find our own faults. May we not treat others as strangers, but learn to make all our own. May we feel the whole world to be our own. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Friends, proceed from this door downstairs and to get the supper.